Hello everyone, it's Pat at Beads and Plenty More, and today I'm going to talk about making this bracelet. I've got it on here so that I can show you what it looks like on the wrist. I've worked with these curved beads as one strand, and then these beads here that have the flowers and the fire polish, and I've used bead caps. Bead caps are particularly nice to emphasize your bead. And also the middle bead here that joins the two strands is a cat's eye bead, size 6mm cat's eye. So to make the one today, I've chosen a different color of the same product. I've got these little flower beads, which have been always fascinating me since they came into the store because they have a hole at the bottom here, so it's a little bit harder to use. But on a strand like this, they work very well because they kind of stick out from the design. So I've got the first little one made up here, and as we go, I'm going to show you some of the tricks for working with two strands of stretch cord and going through a bead that's just barely big enough to go through. Okay, so here we are with our two strands. I've cut them plenty long and used the clamp to hold them so that we have them available for tying at the end. And tying at the end proved to be a bit of a challenge on this design because I ended up with 4 strands, 2 from each end, and it was just a little bit too much to fit into most anything, so we worked with a bail, and that's what I have here is the bail. And then I used a nice little dangle with some of the flowers and a little charm. So that's what we're going to do at the end. So these beads are not particularly difficult to feed on. They you just go through the channel of the curved bead. And of course the curve fits nicely with this design. It sort of frames it. And then my design is the flower bead, and then the bead caps go around the fire polished bead, which of course when you work with a bead cap, you put one end goes towards the bead, and then the other side frames the other, go toward the bead, and then you have to go through. So you kind of go through backwards first and then forwards, or if you want to look at it the other way, forwards first and then backwards. So that's how we frame the bead with the bead cap, like that. Then I did another flower bead. And another one of the fire polish with the bead caps. So through this direction. And then cap it the other side, going the other way so that it sits one on each side. So that's most of my design, and then I did one more flower bead here. Now when I made the first one that I'm wearing here, the cat's eye beads here, I had no trouble getting my 2 strands through that bead. They had quite a large enough hole, but I wanted to try something different with this one, so I chose these gold metal beads, and they're a little bit more difficult to put the 2 strands through. So I got the first strand, and this is a trick I use when you're having a little bit of trouble. I try and stretch it out so that the piece that's going through is a bit thinner, and then push this one through. And sometimes if it won't go totally, you can get it part way through and then pull with the other one, and that'll help get it through a little easier. So that's a way that you can work if you're just not quite getting that double strand through when you want to get 2 into one bead. So I snug that up so that it sits with I want the flowers to face out, and then tighten up my strands so that they're all nice and snug. No extra stretchy cloth. So that's how it's going to work with the wavy design. I'll finish doing it up, and then I'll show you how I did the finishing at the end. Okay, I'm back with my finished threading of my beads onto the elastic, and I'm going to go ahead and make the bail now. So I'm going to put together all the pieces for the bail before I actually do the attaching. So I've decided to use one of the flower beads, one of the fire polish, and this charm with the Tree of Life, and it's double-sided, which is always a really good feature of charms. So to attach the charm, I'm going to use a jump ring. And the jump ring, once it's open, you need to use 2 pairs of pliers to open the jump ring properly, and you just twist it in on itself so that it doesn't reduce the roundness of the circle, because we always want to keep that roundness. So hook in there like so. I've used a 5mm jump ring. It seems to be about the right size for this project. And we get a hold of it over here and here and twist it back to get a good join on it there. Just make sure I've got that closed. It's not quite closed. With dangles, it's really important to make sure all your connections are good, because of course they are moving around a lot and you don't want them to fall off. Okay, so that's my charm attached. The bead can be put on a head pin, which is the simple way to make a dangle. We bend over the head pin. I'm going to cut off everything but what I want for a loop. And always hold when you cut so that you don't have it snapping. And then we'll go ahead and make a circle with the round plier. And this one I was going to attach on the back side of the, well, I guess it could be back or front because it moves around. And attach the little, close that circle really good there. Okay, that's one dangle attached. Now, of course, our little flower bead creates a problem because of the bottom hole. And what we do with it is to take a piece of 28 gauge wire, and I'm going to go through that hole on the bottom there. Allow a fair bit, bring it up like that, pinch it, and we're going to make twisted wire, so that'll make a stronger wire. Just bring your fingers up as you twist to make sure you get enough length, which should be about right now. Cut off. And now this, I'm going to use the round pliers, and I'm going to roll it around, and then I'm going to do a wrap loop underneath here. So I'll attach this on the other side of the charm. Sit in there like that. And then we just bring this wire around so that it's going to wrap. And it's a good idea to put the round pliers back in so that you have a good solid hold when you're doing a wrap. And this is really soft wire, so it's easy to wrap with your fingers. Give it a couple of wraps around so that it makes it secure. And then we're going to cut off the excess and tuck the tail. Cut. And we'll tuck that tail so that we make sure there's no sharp points. Feels good. Okay, so this whole little unit is going to go with our 4 ends here. Now, because we have 4 ends, it's also a good idea to tie 2 at a time, not all 4 at once. So I'll feed this one through the bail. You could tie all 4 at once, but of course that if the knot comes undone, then the whole bracelet is going to fall apart. And I'm going to do the surgeon's knot once around, and second time twice around. 1 and 2. Bring that up tight. Then I'll tie the other one. Actually, I'm going to bring it to the other side. And then we'll bring one from one side and one from the other side. So So here we go with the wrap once, and then twice. 1 and 2. Now I've got a knot on each side here, which I'm going to put glue on, and then I'm going to have them all sitting inside that bale that I've got. I use G&S Hypo Cement. It's very good because it's clear and it's got a nice fine tip. So we'll put a bit of glue on that knot. And turn around and put glue on this knot. Always put glue from one side, turn around, put the glue on the other side. Make sure you glue, it's all, you can never lose with putting glue on your knots. Now we're going to feed the tails from one side through to the other side so that I can pop that knot right inside the bale. And same with this side. Feed that through so that it goes right inside the bale. I did need to choose a fairly large bale in order to get enough space to fit all 4 strands. There, they're all tucked in there. And we'll have to just let that glue dry, and our bracelet will be ready. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.